Aye. I lost my sheet. There it is. Sorry about that. We need to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? And then a moment of silence for all those who are serving, who have served, and for all the police officers and first responders. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Jesse, will you please call the roll?
Yes, we have Mrs. Eileen Panico.
Here.
Mr. Mark Warshaw. Yes. Mrs. Jacqueline Napolitano-Ferno.
Here.
We have Miss Mylan Augulus joining us via Zoom. Miss Lee Kennedy also joining us via Zoom.
Lee Kennedy, are you here? We didn't mute her.
She muted herself.
She muted herself. Lee Kennedy, are you here?
We'll come back to her. Dr. Linda Adams.
Present.
Bridget Villarreal. Mr. Dean Middleman. And Reza Kolahifar.
Present.
And then Miss Kennedy, do we have you yet?
Lee?
Present.
Thank you. And we also have Miss Lisa Hutchinson, counsel.
Present.
Thank you.
And Jesse.
And myself, Jesse Kemp, the district clerk.
Okay. We do have some changings. Did we add on those two? Lisa, did you give me the wording for those two that we're adding on resolutions? Is that also on the consent agenda? Yes?
I don't know if it's on the consent agenda, but I can read them to make sure that this is the wording that the board would want to consider.
Okay, when we get to that part, we'll do that.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. I need a motion and a second to accept the minutes of the January 26, 2021 Board of Education meeting.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And next we have our student government report. We have, I'm not gonna say these names right. Oh, you guys can just correct me if I'm wrong. Charlotte DeSimone?
Yep.
All right, I did that right. And Carmela Eads?
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So as you are aware, Winter Spectacular was a huge student government sponsored and student run event with the help of the PTA. Each class sponsored a display with a contest between the classes. The final results were freshmen first, juniors second, sophomores third, and seniors fourth. Student government is also going to be sponsoring PS I Love You Day on February 12th. On this day, we ask everyone to wear purple and stand up against bullying, help end depression, and prevent suicide. It should be a day of positive messages that make people feel special, loved, and remind everyone that you are never alone. We're also going to have a student government flower sale. It's not how we usually do, where we deliver the flowers to the teachers and the teachers distribute them to students. We're just going to be set up in the main hallway of the high school, and students are going to come up to the booth we're going to have and just buy flowers. And then we have a virtual talent show in the spring, the same thing how we did last year.
Thank you.
And then the individual classes are doing activities of their own. The freshmen are going to be doing a scavenger hunt, and that is going to be done outside, I presume. The sophomores are going to be doing a trivia night, either in person or remote. The sophomore and juniors are working collaboratively to plan a combined ring event outdoors on the field with music and games, etc. The juniors are planning an outdoor prom on the football field with tents and music. And the seniors are planning a senior sunrise when the weather gets warmer, organized by the school. And prom is still booked as of now and will run if normal regulations can be, or, if things can go back to normal by then.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions for our representatives from the high school?
You guys did a great job for Winter Wonderland. We loved it driving through. You guys really did a great job. And I hope that you guys have a great time this weekend on the 12th as well. That's very nice for bullying.
Yeah, I think we're going to do the Winter Wonderland next year too. I think it's going to be an annual event now.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
It was also a class competition. Do we have who won?
Yeah, I said it.
Oh, okay, yeah, it was a class competition. So that's it.
Who won?
I think the freshmen got first, the juniors placed second, sophomores placed third, and seniors placed last.
Awesome.
Seniors.
Thank you. That was awesome. All right, we did have the student government report first because these kids are in school and they have to get up and get to class. And I don't know if you're going in school, you're virtual, whatever it is. So you guys can feel free to leave whenever you want. We're gonna keep going on. I do have public comment. I see we have a couple more kids here. We have been moving public comment to the end to get the business done first, but I'm gonna allow the children to go. And I'm gonna ask the adults to wait till the end, so that the children can also get home if they wanna speak now. Did you guys wanna speak?
I'll speak.
Okay, come up to the microphone right here. Just use that on. I'll put another one at the end. This way we can get done with the business. That's what we've been doing. We've been moving it to the end, but I see we have some kids here, so we're gonna let them speak.
Okay, can everybody hear me? Okay, so my name is Christian Marinelli. I'm a 12th grade senior at the high school. I'm a little nervous up here, but because that's the first time here, but I'm gonna say what I believe in and say what I think should be done. This year, obviously, to all of you, you know that it's been a pretty rough year, especially for the seniors and everybody in every grade. And I just think, based on the circumstances in the high school, it's just like Smithtown, and it just doesn't make sense to me with the guidelines in the school and with other schools being in full session. It just doesn't make sense to me why we can't be in full session compared to other schools when they're doing it and without shields and just the face mask and not social distancing. For example, Smithtown. And plus, it just the biggest thing that doesn't make sense to me is in the lunchrooms when we all are together and you can take off the masks in the lunchroom, but you can't do it in other rooms. I really do not think that makes any sense. A lot of the things we're doing don't make any sense because when the kids leave school, they're going over their friend's house, having fun, and not doing any of the COVID, guidelines that the CDC implemented. Plus, the CDC also implemented that we could have weddings up to 150 people, and it just doesn't make sense to me with the Super Bowl having almost 103,000 people there. I really just want to go back to a normal high school year, and I don't know what it takes to get that moving forward because to me, it's very time consuming and it's taking a long time, and it shouldn't when all these other schools are moving forward and we're taking the slow steps to get there when we should be. So I just really hope everybody here is listening and taking it into account. And I know it's very hard for all of you too. I respect everyone here that's doing their best to work and do what they can for all the seniors and all the kids in the school because nobody wants to be like this. It's just the guidelines in the school don't make sense to me, and how we can't, and other schools can go back and we can't go back full time when Smithtown can and all these other schools. And then the guidelines in the lunchroom, going after school, these kids go do all these things, sports, the Super Bowl, Florida with some of them that are not even wearing masks. It's just, it probably has nothing to do with you guys, but it's concerning to me that we're so held back. And I want to enjoy my last year of high school, but I understand health is a priority. All in all, I just really want my senior year to hopefully come back. And I know you're all probably working very hard to make that happen. I appreciate it. And I'm pretty sure everybody at the Connect Pod community does. So if there's anything you guys are working on to get us back to fully in session, I hope it's doing whatever you guys are doing. I hope it's working out great. And I hope from here on out, the future can get better from where we began. And I thank you for letting me speak tonight.
Thank you for coming in, and let me just tell your mother that she did a wonderful job. You're a very well-spoken young man, and I appreciated all your comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have another speaker. Do you want to speak? No? Okay. I'm going to say that, Linda did send out, our superintendent did send out a survey to all the parents, and they are working on what we can do to help you guys. All of us want to support our kids, obviously, and we hope everything gets back to normal sooner than later. So thank you for coming down, though. I appreciate it. Thank you. We're going to ask the adults to just wait till the actual business is done, then we'll give you guys your time. Okay. Recommended actions for personnel matters. Call for a motion and a second to approve a personnel matters Schedule 1, resignations, terminations, leaves of absences. And then a motion and a second.
Motion.
Mark motioned, I need a second. I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion and a second to approve the personnel matters Schedule 2 for appointments, 10-year salary changes.
Motion.
All right, I heard Lee as a motion. I need a second.
I'm second, let Marlon know.
Okay, Mylan motions, Lee seconds. All in favor? Aye. Okay. We're up to financial matters? Okay. Recommended action, oh, Linda, before I move on though, the discussion items, none of that's on the consent agenda, right?
I missed what you said, Eileen, I'm
The
sorry.
discussion items. I don't want to approve that, go to the consent agenda if we have discussion on them first. Is there any discussion items that might be on the consent agenda? So should we move that up front?
There are no, I don't believe, discussion items on the consent agenda.
Okay. And just so everyone knows, because we have 2 board members at home and 3 of us are here, we've been here since 4 o'clock. We are going to try to not speed up the meeting, but make sure that everything is done so that we're done and out of here by like 9:30. It's kind of like my goal.
Are we on the consent agenda already?
No, we're not. We're on financial matters, but I had a question first. So I need a motion and a second to discuss the financial matters and then to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Okay, now we're going to discussion. Any discussion on the financial matters, Mylin?
No, I'm gonna save my questions for the next quarter.
Okay, all right, good. Me too. So I need an all in favor then for the financial matters? Thank you, Mylin.
Aye.
Aye. All right, now we're at the consent agenda. There's a couple of polls on those. So on the consent agenda, I need a motion and a second to, I need a motion and a second for items 2 through 14, but we're gonna discuss them first. It's actually more than 2 through 14 now.
I'm pulling number 3.
Hold on, I need a motion and a second to discuss them first. So I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second, now discussion.
I'm gonna pull number 3 for a separate vote.
Okay, so
Number 2.
Lee's pulling 2, we're pulling 3, we're pulling 4. Number 5 is off.
I want to discuss number 4. I don't know how it's written now.
Hold on, we're pulling right now for discussion, then we're gonna go back and discuss. So we got number 2, Jess, you got that, right?
2, 3, and 4.
All right, right, and number 5 is off.
5 is off.
Then we're gonna do some discussion. Wait, there's another one though. Where'd it go? Hold on.
Are you gonna discuss number 6?
I have that as a discussion. Number 13 is that's the one we're talking about? Yeah, okay, I'll bring that up. That doesn't really matter. Okay, that's it for me. Anybody else want to pull something for a separate vote? Okay, so for separate votes, we have 2, 3, and 4. All right, so do we want to, I'm going to start with the discussion. Number 7. I don't have number 6 as a discussion. Jackie, you can bring it up. Number 7. The point of dispensing the MOU for that, Linda, that is a free. Can you explain a little bit about that?
So can I just explain 6 and 7, because I think there's a confusion? So number 6 is an agreement with Advanced Cardiovascular Diagnostics, who is in 30 different school districts on Long Island right now and have offered their services to us as well for no additional cost to either our taxpayers or our athletes, to come in and test our high-risk athletes to make sure that they're safe to be part of our contests and our practices. So that's number 6.
Wait, so stop right there. So that's what I was actually talking about. So number 6, that's free to us now, because when we originally brought it up, we tabled it because it was at a cost of $1,500 to $3,000. I heard the price. Correct?
Correct. Well, we originally tabled, the board approved the MOU with Suffolk County Department of Health Services in order to access the free tests. But we had worked with our administrative staff to try to figure out how to use our own internal staff to do the testing. And when you use internal staff, they're working. So we were looking to pay them their prevailing wage to do that kind of work on either afternoons or on Saturdays. We did post that. We got one person who was interested in doing it, but that's not enough to test 100 students a week. So we have approximately 100 student athletes who are in our high risk athletic program, and they need to be tested once a week to make sure that they're safe. So we worked out an arrangement with Advanced Cardiovascular Diagnostics where they will be coming in, and I have the dates, 2:15 from 8 to 1, 2:16 from 8 to 12, 2:22 from 8 to 4, and 3:1 from 8 to 4, in order to make sure that our kids, our high-risk athletes, get the COVID testing that they need in order to be part of their athletic events.
And Linda, just again to confirm, there is no cost to the district, whether it be secretarial, whether it be anything. It's a doorway, that's it.
That's it.
No cost to us.
No cost to us.
All right. So then the next
but
one though,
number 7 is different because
Yes.
number 7 is the point of dispensing a POD with Suffolk County Department of Health Services. If the district would like at some point or other to potentially open up our doors to be a vaccination site for our local communities, totally different from Advanced Cardiovascular Diagnostics. Advanced Cardiovascular Diagnostics has been an approved point of dispense for Suffolk County Department of Health, actually for New York State Department of Health. At the time when they receive vaccines, if we are interested as a school district in vaccinating our 1As and our 1Bs at that point, they will do that for us for free as well. That's number 6.
but that's not actually free to us because when you read the contract, there's a lot of costs. There's a lot of responsibilities that are on the school district.
That's number 7.
And number 7, yes, number 7.
Number 7 is the
We're
MOA.
done with number 6. I was on number 7.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you, number 6 will also allow us to do point of dispensing through their licensing, which would have no cost whatsoever when they're in receipt of vaccines. And they've been approved already by the New York State Department of
So
Health.
why would we approve number 7, which was, when I read that contract, there's a lot of costs, a lot of responsibilities to the district that come with a high cost. Why would we approve that?
This is the vaccine, not the testing.
Right.
Vaccine is different. The
But
testing
I'm
we
talking about
approve.
the vaccine. I'm talking about number 7 only.
Okay, so number
7 only.
Number 7 is if we wanted to become a vaccination site in Suffolk County.
Yes. Hold on,
This is
Jackie.
what I
Hold on.
brought up. Hold on, but this is what I brought up over the weekend as an email when I'm trying. I didn't. This is what I'm saying. It doesn't look like the same thing I brought up, where District Southeast did vaccinate opened up, but only for employees. They had written to the governor, and they got special permission, and they vaccinated all of their teachers, their staff. Why would we not do that to make them convenient? It's convenient.
There's a
and
lot of
not
costs in his
mandatory,
contract right here, Jackie.
but not mandatory. No, but she said to me that we couldn't do that, I thought.
So we're talking about Eastport South Manor. They actually went into an agreement with a local, like a CVS. It's not a CVS, but they went into an agreement with a local dispensary, and they did vaccinate all of their teachers on site. That's different than this. This is if we wanted to become a school district that the Suffolk County Department of Health would utilize as a mass vaccination site, we would have to be open to anyone in the community and beyond who signed up for the vaccination.
Right, and it's at a huge cost to us.
But what I'm saying is, now you
Our
brought up
taxpayers.
Eastport South Manor. Why couldn't we do what they did?
I can't hear you, Linda.
This is what Suffolk County, I don't know how Eastport South Manor got done what they got done. They were very, very, very rare. They for whatever reason, they got almost papal dispensation to get it done. When all the other superintendents started reaching out to other places, this is what Suffolk County Department of Health Services did in lieu of something like Eastport South
So
Manor.
we don't
We're
even
not
know if we
entitled
want to
do
become a
what-
vaccination site, but we're gonna approve this contract with all these costs. Linda,
So-
there's some costs in here, you're talking about liability insurance that we need to have. From liability insurance, I'm talking about commercial, workers' comp, automobile, professional errors, umbrella. You're talking about a big amount of just insurance costs. Then they're talking about the waiver of rights. So we don't even have that. Then you're talking about how we have to do things. I mean, there's so many things in here that there's a lot of cost to our district in that contract. Just the insurance alone was a lot of costs. Where's the other parts?
So I'm not suggesting that you folks want to do it. I put it on here for you to discuss. This is really whether or not The district wants to become potentially a point of distribution for the community. This isn't just for our teachers. This isn't just for our parents.
No, this
This
would
would
be
be-
for everyone in the, we can't discriminate, you can't
You
say no
can't,
to
that's
anybody,
correct.
right?
You would have to do some, and probably Suffolk County
And we
Department
have
of
to
Health
pay, the
Services.
taxpayers have to pay for it. No, I know, I'm just asking you questions on the contract. Right. So, I mean, but usually when you put something on the contract, it's because you recommended it. So this is just for discussion?
This would not be a superintendent's recommendation. This would be a community, the school district wanted to do something for a community. This is an MOA. If we ever wanted to be a point of distribution, we would need to sign this MOA to move into a contract with Suffolk County Department of Health.
So until we find
Completely
out
up
from
to
the
you guys.
community, why, I don't want to vote on this then. Till we find out even what the community even thinks about this. I mean, I would want to post this contract online so the community can read it and see what, I mean, it's gonna cost the community a lot of money to do this. And you can't just say it's just community. Somebody could come in there to get vaccinated and they don't have to even be in our community. They could just use our site. So our community really has to, in my opinion, look this over first. So I'm gonna ask this to be pulled for a separate vote.
And I,
Happens to agree with you, and I also want to add one question on top of that. So if somebody is vaccine injured and.
No, I wanna say no to it.
Who's responsible?
Eileen just asked a question.
Just table the whole thing.
I have a question. If someone is vaccine injured during this, who is responsible?
If you look at the indemnification clause under number 4, each party indemnifies and defends and protects each other from any claim of damage, loss, etc. So, technically you're indemnifying each other, but, likely nothing's ever guaranteed. Anybody can sue everybody, and a school district's a deep pocket, and so is Suffolk County. But, yeah, technically Suffolk County would indemnify you relative to if somebody was injured to the vaccine. Technically, but doesn't mean you can't get sued though.
I know you have that clause in there.
No, you can always get sued.
You can always get sued, that, but yeah, so this seeks for the parties to indemnify each other.
Jesse, can you look into Eastport South Manor and find out how exactly they did it? I mean, for the convenience, it would be hard to reach out to find out for the convenience of how did they get their teachers and staff who wanted to be, not whoever wanted it optional to be vaccinated. I mean, it sounds like it was really convenient. I spoke to the board president there. It sounded like it was convenient. It sounded like it worked out really well. And it sounded like they were really happy about it. Staff members that are waiting months were able to get vaccinated in a week.
We also need to find out any cost.
I don't think there was a cost associated with it.
While she's making the phone call, she can find out. Does anybody else have any more discussions? We're not voting yet. Discussions on any of the other items. That was what I wanted to bring up.
Yes, I do.
Okay, Mylene, go ahead.
I'd like to bring up the one with built-in services. I believe it's 13. No, sorry, maybe it's 14. I'll have to look for a second. Oh, no,
It's 13, Mylene, it's 13.
13.
Mm-hmm.
So we did receive a letter today. I'm not going to mention the parent's name. I'm just going to read the very brief email. We are writing to express our concern after hearing that the occupational therapy service may be potentially ceased. As an intricate co-teaching classroom, the benefits of occupational therapy provides its essential students success in regards to their fine motor and sensory skills. Please know that the occupational therapists in the district are phenomenal and crucial to the students' progress. Thank you for your time. So now, in this specific email, it talks about staff. So is this staff? Can you just give us a little bit of background on this, Linda?
Sure. So, the district had been in contract with a specific consultant services for occupational therapy for about 20 years. Unfortunately, the person who the contract was with recently was deceased. So in order to move forward with the occupational therapists who have been in the district for a significant amount of time under her contract, those folks got together and created a new company. because the person, and we spoke about her last time, Elizabeth Berger, it was her company. So because there was no more company left, because the owner was deceased, they needed to come together with a different incorporation. This incorporation, Advanced Occupational Therapy Resources, is basically the conglomeration of all the rest of the OTs that were under Mrs. Berger's license. They're licensed OT, but they worked for her, and now they were looking to continue the relationship with the district with this contract.
So the emails that we got were a misconception of, because we canceled Liz Berger's contract because she's deceased in the normal company. Is that correct? All right, so this is just a continue. No one said that we were gonna cancel the contract with the new people.
I don't know where that would have come from, to be honest.
All right, because we got that email, so I think Mylene and I wanted to clarify that.
And I also think, wasn't there a question if there was a lapse in kids getting their services? I thought I thought there was a question about there being a lapse, because we got a couple of emails on that, about a lapse in the services for the children.
Is there a lapse?
So there was, because we didn't have a contract. So when Mrs. Berger passed away, her contract it was null and void because she was no longer around. There will be compensatory services for anything that was missed.
To the children, right?
For the children, of course.
Okay. All right, any other questions or discussion?
No.
Yes, Jackie, didn't you want to? Oh, no, that's in the discussion.
Number 2.
All right, number 2, we're waiting for you, Lee. I thought that was just a poll for a separate vote.
If I have one quick question on it.
Okay, tread lightly.
I sent out some paperwork to everybody, that whole thing. And
I
the
didn't,
paperwork that we saw, was not the paperwork that I think was requested. So I wanted to know if all the paperwork was there, I wanted to see it before I made.
well, that's what the investigator is going to find out, Lee.
Oh, well, and then I separate vote that.
Right.
You know, spend $5,000 on something when you don't even have the right paperwork.
Well, that's only part of it, but it's not $5,000 just for paperwork.
Just explain why we're doing number 2 again. Basically, what happened was there was an
Mark, tread lightly, Mark.
investigation. We were investigated. Somebody was investigating. If you work for the school, for example, Jackie, if she works for the school, you're not supposed to be investigated by the school. What happened was somebody did something in the school and we investigated with our own school. That is like you're not supposed to do that because obviously there's allegiance to the person that works for the school. It's going to be biased. The whole thing should be done over, but it wasn't. It was not done correctly. It was a phony, in my opinion. When you investigate, if I'm investigating for murdering somebody, she should not investigate it, or whatever the
We're
charge
friends,
might
or
be.
I don't really like him.
I shouldn't. I'm sorry about that.
I'm kidding.
But I shouldn't be investigated by my people that are working for me. Correct? That's what basically, and that's what happened. It should be investigated by an outside source because they're going to be biased and give the right results.
Non-biased, unbiased.
Correct. That's
And it
right.
has happened here a couple times. Actually,
So when you
myself and
investigate
Mylin were
something,
investigated by an outside source to make sure that we didn't do something that we weren't supposed to
that's
do.
really why number 2 is being done. Now, Lee, if you disagree with that, that's your opinion. That's,
Well, okay,
that's perfect.
that's okay. We're gonna vote
Thank
on that separately.
Yes.
All right. So is there any more discussion? Okay, good.
We spoke about number 3 in executive.
We did. We're gonna vote on that separately. Okay? All right, so items number 5 is off. 6 and 8 through 14, that's what the 2 added on, the 2 that Lisa. Okay, 6 through 16. Lisa's gonna read the language. Lee and Mylin, please listen to Lisa. Mark, turn your microphone off. Lisa needs hers. Please listen to Lisa. We're adding these 2 items onto the consent agenda at the end. And here's the language.
Please let me know if I got this correct. You're going to move for the production of records from the business office relative to the isolation room, which shall be produced on or before February 29, 2021. I made up that date.
You can actually do the first March meeting.
First March meeting.
Yes, we'll do that for both. items.
Am I correct? The isolation room, or is there
Yes, it is
documentation?
the isolation room and all expenses that were, I put that one in, a detailed list.
A
and that's
detailed list of expenses in connection with same?
Yes.
And then the second resolution will read, move for the production of records pertaining to transfer of funds per year and per code from the business office. But what time period are we looking at for the transfer of funds?
The 3 years.
For the past three?
The past 3 years. Along with the final appropriations report for each of those years.
Can you elaborate on 15, please?
15, that's the one that she just said.
Yeah, 15.
The isolation room, we did transfers for $320,000. I want to know what those costs actually were and what they are. I've never even seen the isolation room, so I wanted to see those costs. And then
Yeah, I want to confirm that's what it was.
yes, and it'll be sent to all the board members. And then the next one is the transfers by, that I've been asking for. You know what I'm talking about, the transfers for each of those 3 budget years.
I knew what 16 was, I just wanted to.
Oh, okay.
15.
Yep, that's what that one is, the isolation room.
So for number 16, I guess this is, move for the production of records pertaining to transfer of funds per year and per code for the past 3 years, along with the final appropriations report for each of those years from the business office, which shall be produced on or before March 9th, 2021.
All right, those are 2 separate resolutions, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so Jesse, it's number 6, and then 8 through 16? Okay, number 6, and then 8 through 16, I need a motion and a second. All right, so I need an all in favor for those? Aye. We lost them, hold on, Mylin and Lee?
I said aye.
Okay, we didn't hear you, we lost you. Okay, so now we're gonna take for separate votes. Number 2. Where am I? Number 2. Number 2, consultant services. Lee? Hold on. Lee?
No.
Mylin? I need a motion and a second to accept. You're right. I need a motion and a second for number 2. Second. Now I need an all in favor. Lee says no. Mylin?
Aye.
I'm an aye.
Mark?
I'm gonna wait.
You're gonna abstain? I'm an aye. So it's fine. Okay. Number 3, I need a motion and a second for the independent medical exam.
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
No.
We're losing him. Mylin?
I'm an abstention.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm just double checking that one, because is this something that we spoke about?
Yes, an executive, yes. This is about the employee. Independent medical exam.
Okay, I'm an aye.
You're a yes? Did she say?
Yes.
Okay. Lee?
Yes.
Mark?
What I think is, yes, that's what I said. Yes.
That's, I'm a yes as well. I'm okay with that. Number 4, resolution for the coronavirus expenditures. I need a motion and a second. Thank you, Jesse. All motion. I need a second. Wait, please check video. We lost them again. Hold on, we lost Mylin and Lee. Searching. Hold on, Lee. I meant to use this as a discussion as well, but we can just vote.
Eileen,
Yes, we hear you now.
so now, is this,
This is,
was this giving the power to, in regard to spending on the COVID?
yes, it's any items that are in short supply. They don't have to, they can immediately purchase instead of following the out to bidding process. And
That allocate $5,000?
From what I'm reading, it's pretty much yes. If it's COVID expenses, they can go buy it.
So would the board be provided a tally of these things? Because I just recently found out that where I thought that the board had spent $4.5 million on COVID, as it turns out, it was $7 million.
Correct. So that's why I pulled this for a separate vote, Mylin.
Yeah, so I was just a little amazed how I thought it was one number and it's actually $2.5 million more than I thought.
Oh, go ahead, Mark. Mark first. Lisa, turn your microphone on, please.
Sorry.
Okay. Go ahead, Mark, and then Jackie.
I think sometimes in certain circumstances, they have to be able to get what they need, but what I would like is if they could send us an email and say, hey, we're buying 5,000 masks at 20 cents each.
That has to be approved in public. You can't do that.
Oh, just before they go, because I think sometimes they just jump the gun and get prices that,
Well, we have a policy in place that says up to $5,000.
okay, so now what are we
But
changing
this
it
is
to? This is
changing it so
unlimited?
that if it's COVID and they want to go do it, they can.
Lisa,
Wait,
can you
hold on.
explain what this means?
Linda,
Because
one
that doesn't
second.
actually mean that.
Linda, one
I
second.
need to understand.
Jackie has a question first. And then maybe you can answer it all together. Go ahead.
I'm just trying to understand, and I don't want to say it like this, is this like an open checkbook kind of thing? And I don't want to deal with that because it's the same thing. It's okay if we get whatever we need to make sure everybody's safe and healthy. That's first of all. I mean, whatever it costs, because it's a pandemic, we gotta do
It's
what we gotta
it's
do.
not our money. It's the
But,
taxpayers'
no,
money.
no, but we gotta do to keep everybody safe. I mean,
I
that is
understand that.
part of the issue.
But we have a policy in
But-
place for that up to $5,000.
Right, I don't,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be for just allowing anything and everything
Well,
without
that's
us
the
being.
discussion. That's why I pulled it for a separate vote.
Okay.
So this really just has to do with certain items that are really hard to get in an emergency because you have COVID-related items that you may need, like gloves. And the district would still be under requirement to make sure they got the best cost possible.
But they're allowed to go over the $5,000 limit, and I'm not okay with that.
Correct.
That's not what it says here.
Well, because typically you have to go out for bids for items. Here, you're dispensing with that because of an emergency. So the district would have to show there's an emergency.
Why? But we know
it's
what we
needed.
need now. We know where we are. I mean, it's been a year, so we know. So it's not really an emergency. We know to order before we get low. We know that there's a short supply. So my discussion with this was, and that's why I pulled it for a separate vote. It's up to my other board members to decide if they want to give, somebody access to just spend that money and put coronavirus on. That's why I'm requesting the isolation room. Everybody's just spent $320,000. I have no idea on what. That my fiscal responsibility. Yeah.
If you're running short, you would be ahead with your inventory and order.
Right.
And focus on that. So
I'm just here for a vote. I already know.
So can I
For years, that's just the rule.
can I explain what's happening? So we are in competition with everybody else in COVID supplies. And what basically this is so that we don't have to go with only the contracted folks. So you've seen that we've asked you to give us some piggyback contracts where we can go off of RFPs from other places so that there's more ways for us to get the equipment and supplies that we need to keep the district safe. So when you say that we've been through this a whole year, we actually haven't. So we're not sure how fast the masks are going to go. We're not sure how fast the sanitizer will go. You're not sure how fast. But when we start to go low, we look at all the RFPs and all the contracts, and we try to put it in order. And if we're blocked because there's none left, no supplies left on any of our contracts, this is to allow us to go get 3 of the lowest prices and still go and get the supplies that we need.
Well, let's not get to that point. There's gonna be a separate vote.
We're
Linda.
not getting to that
My
point.
point is, I understand that. I understand that. But if as a board member, I have to be fiscally responsible, and I can't just say, go spend everybody's money because it's not mine. Go ahead, give me a wallet. I'm gonna spend all your money. Give me a credit card. I can't do that to people. I just can't. So that's the only reason I pulled it for a separate vote. What you guys decide to do is you. Who's got their microphone on? Lisa, can you turn yours off?
Oh, that's me again.
Linda, any way we can just put it at a different amount?
There is no set amount on this. That's my problem too.
That's what I'm saying. Can we put a different amount that would, I want to help the board, the administrators, because there is circumstances when you're in business or running a school where you're gonna need something and you shouldn't have to go ahead and go crazy for it, especially right now. So maybe we can get a different number that would work for you and that would probably work for some
If you
of the
put a
board
limit on it, I can't just
Maybe
open,
put a limit
I
that you
can't do it
think
over
would
district.
satisfy the situation. I'm only trying to rectify it rather than have a no. That's what I'm
so we
trying
can
to do.
either table it or vote on it now. Table it until you get a dollar amount limit, or vote on it.
Bridget, what have we not been able to purchase recently? I
There
know
you
that
go. Good
Joanne
question.
Sharrett has had some trouble finding things on all of the different contracts because we're all fighting for the same materials. Every school district is fighting for those same materials on contract. So you can't say that we're not doing our due diligence
I
by,
didn't say that at all.
well,
I didn't say
that was intimated slightly. I just, so.
No, Linda, I did not at all.
Quite frankly, we may be running out of hand sanitizer. And we know that because we've looked in our RMS in the basement where we keep all this stuff in stock, and we say, oh my goodness, we're running out. We're not going to get through the next month. We write a PO. Joanne Sharrett, who was our director of purchasing, looks on all of the contracts and realizes there's not 1 ounce of hand sanitizer on any of these contracts. All she's saying is, can I go and get the lowest price of 3 bids, which is normal general municipal law, and buy that rather than waiting 2 weeks or a month for a board meeting? That's what this is all about.
Linda, that's not what this says, though.
Wait, but do you guys realize there's been,
Sanitizer, mask.
I don't know who they're reaching out to, but
One person at a time. Mylin's speaking.
Linda, there's a lot, like,
Jackie, hold on 1 second. Mylin was speaking, and I didn't.
good.
Jackie, hold on 1 second. Mylin, go ahead.
So if we could just, tailor it to masks, hand sanitizers, and cleaning products, does it need to go above that?
That's really what it says, Mylan. It's
No, it
disinfectant,
doesn't, Linda.
disinfectant dispensers and sprayers, masks, face shields, filters, gloves, gowns, booties, hand sanitizer, instructional labels or posters, N95 face shields, filters, gloves,
Linda, we
gowns.
have the
Oops, I'm
contract. We
sorry.
can read all that. The problem is, what if you run out of all these things and you're low on all these things, and we just go out and we spend $100,000? We just spent $320 on an isolation room, and I don't know why.
Well,
So I can't just say go ahead and spend more money when this COVID could still go on, and we're gonna need the money in our budget. We were just talking about the budget, and Bridget's gonna bring it up, and we're gonna talk about how much dire straits we're in, and we talked about it with the lawyers and how the reserve funds. So we can't just say go spend this willy nilly. We have to be financially responsible. It's not against you guys. That's our job. That's our job to do that. So, and if you put a limit on this and say $10,000 to supersede the policy instead of $5,000, which is our limit now to get board approval, maybe $10,000. Then maybe I would consider accepting it. But right now, the way it's written, it's everything, and there's no dollar limit. So then I'm going to get a transfer of $300,000 and not know what it's for. I can't do that. And I personally cannot do that and be fiscally responsible and be able to sleep at night with myself. So that's why I pulled it for a separate vote. It has nothing to do with you guys or intimating anything. That's your take on it, not mine. I'm trying to do my job, and that's it. Just like you guys do your job. So
I'm just trying to understand this. Did you just say that you guys are having a hard time getting hand sanitizer? Okay, I just wanted to.
Some of these materials are very hard to get because all school districts are using the same contracts. So
Is hand sanitizer one of them, Bridget?
Maybe why aren't we looking into other?
but it's
Can I
not
ask you, are you buying it by the gallon? What do you buy it by?
So right now we're having a problem procuring hand sanitizer and wipes. But I hear what everyone is saying. We've been able to find gloves and masks from vendors through Suffolk County and BOCES bids. But the problem is that every single week, my purchasing department is calling these vendors to see the vendors that are on bid every single week to see if they have more supply. And a lot of them are coming back to say, we don't have the supply because they're supplying all 125 school districts on Long Island or whatever the case may be.
Get the bids from the other ones and bring them up to the board for the next meeting.
So if that's the way you want to go, every single meeting we will have COVID related materials on.
Then I could be fiscally responsible.
What are you paying for the hand sanitizer right now? You're in a back job. A gallon. Well, you should let me know that because it's not as difficult as you think to go get it.
Mark,
That's why I'm saying, my job does too, that's why I'm saying, there are places that if you get a bid from them, that's why I was asking, that you could get a bid from, because they're doing schools and they're doing government buildings, and we haven't had any problem getting it. That's why I'm saying to you, and I know the schools by us are getting it from them too. So that's what I just said to you.
we can get you can get more responsible bidders on the list. That's easier than asking us for an open checkbook, kind of, which is what this says. If you want to get more bids on the list, we do that all the time. We go in with these Port South Manor, we go in with this one, we go in with that school, we go in with these people. We can do that, and that's giving you more access to more vendors without giving an open checkbook and not doing our due diligence. So do you want us to pull it or table it? For a separate vote or table? That's the question now, Linda.
Right now it's on for a separate vote, and I think you should just move forward with the separate vote.
Okay.
Because we can't get some of these things right now on the bids, the way the bids.
And you can't add in like another vendor like I just asked? We can't do that, go in with other vendors?
That would be an entire bid process, which takes weeks.
Okay.
And sometimes
So
we're
then
running
we'll
out.
just vote,
So
Linda.
it's
I
fine.
think
If
there's
you-
a
if you
creative
wanna-
way of doing this. If you don't want to do that way and you just want us to vote, we will do that. But I think that we can do it.
if you want to put a limit on it to the amount of $10,000, I that will at least help us a little bit. Procure some things that we would need that are short.
I would
in
be
the
amenable to that. To the $10,000. That's double what we normally board approve. I would be amenable to that, but anything over that, I would,
Okay, so as amended with this recommended action up to $10,000.
Lisa, can you? You gotta put your microphone on, sorry.
Either it's on or off, right?
Yeah.
It says the Board of Education hereby authorizes the superintendent of schools to appropriate and transfer such funds in an amount not to exceed $10,000 to make the purchase of, and then the rest of the resolution.
Right, and all this other stuff where it's just has to come out.
I mean, so you're limiting it to $10,000 to make a purchase of disinfectant.
Right, that whole paragraph where it says the stuff, but there's other things in here, so I don't know what
That
I mean, the
would be
solicitation of quotes, I mean,
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Let me start
so
from the
that-
beginning. All right, can we give me a chance to revise this and vote on it after you do the rest of it?
Sure, we're gonna table that for now, for tonight, and we're gonna re-vote on it tonight. Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah, that's fine.
Mylin Lee? Hello?
Making good decisions.
We're tabling it so Lisa can revise it, and then we're gonna vote.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, so we have a consensus to table it. Moving on, what's the other one did we table anything? Did we pull anything else? Number 7. Point of dispensing MOU. I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
I need an all in favor? No. Jackie? This is the one where it's the mass vaccine one. There's so many costs involved in it. But I just can't approve that either. Not without the community knowing.
Yeah, I'm gonna abstain without a survey. I think we should survey the district or get an idea of what the community wants.
I agree.
I think people want the vaccine, they would like the vaccine,
Right.
but not.
Not at a huge cost to the district. There's gotta be a better way to do it.
I think we should table it to get further information from the community.
So do you want to table it or vote separately?
I like table.
All right, we're tabling this one as well. I need a motion and a second to table number 7.
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Lee?
I said aye.
Okay, good. I didn't hear you. All right, that's the only other one, right? That was it?
Number 2.
Oh, we
Number 2, the separate vote method.
we did the separate vote, Lee. You said no.
Oh, I didn't know you already did.
You said no. Okay. And the rest of us said yes, so it's went through. Okay, so Anything else, Jess, on the consent?
No, except for the one that Lisa's working on right now.
Okay, so that we're gonna come back to. So let me go back to my sheet now. After that, we're gonna do, new business discussion items, or Linda, do you want the community to speak first? Cause that's all we have.
That's completely up to you.
Okay, well, let's see. It is 8:30. I would like the community to speak so that if our discussion goes too long, I can cut you guys off and leave by 9:30 like we're supposed to do. So I would like the community to have their time though. So we're gonna do public session right now. So you guys have 3 minutes to speak. There's a whole speech that goes with this that I'm not gonna say. You have 3 minutes when you hear this noise. I'm gonna keep looking at you and say, okay, that's enough. So that we can all get our business done and move on. So who wants to go first? Hi, you don't have to say your name.
I don't have to say my name?
You don't have to. If you want to, you can. You don't have to.
Hi, everybody.
But you got 3 minutes.
My name is Mike DiFilippo. Good evening, Dr. Adams and the
Okay.
board. You guys are doing a heck of a job over here. Still doing it. Listen, in essence of time, a lot of the community, I'm one voice, excuse me, let me just step back a second. I'm one voice. But I get the pulse on the ear of a lot of people in this community with regards to the senior class. There's a lot of discussion going on regarding the senior class coming back full. I understand 2 weeks ago, I was watching it on YouTube. We had some emotional people up here. Let me tell you, that emotion, what that individual did is exactly what you see out there. A lot of the kids are getting tired. Sorry.
Deep breath, deep cleansing breath.
Yeah.
Mike, you got it.
No, a lot of the kids are getting tired from being home. I understand that there's a process to do things, and to ask a question, you really need to know what the obstacles are before you really try to get to your ultimate end. And I'm asking you, do we have a number of obstacles that are in our way that are preventing the senior class from coming back full time? Is it possible to let the 9th graders, the 10th graders go virtual for the rest of the year? Is it possible to have the senior class just come in? The 9th and 10th graders will have their time. They definitely will. The 11th graders, I don't care if you do hybrid. We have a big school. I'm sure that we can find a way to have this happen. I hear so many kids come by my facility. So many parents call me. There's a lot of people that I don't know if you're hearing everybody, but there's a lot of people out there that are really dying for their kids to experience what they did. So, do we have a process? Do we have a set time of, okay, we're going to make a decision March 1st, whether the senior class can go full-time or not? Do we have a plan of attack? I can't thank you enough, Dr. Adams, for sending out the survey that was requested. I hope with today's technology, we can speed up what the results are.
We're actually going to talk about that tonight, Mike.
Oh,
It's on there tonight, yes.
It's on there tonight?
Yep.
Okay. Will those results be public?
Yeah, she's going to talk about it tonight.
Oh, okay.
While you're here.
So, okay, cool. So, okay, so that's one big thing. Did I overhear right that there will be a prom for the senior class, or is it in plan? It's still in plan. It still is a go as planned if. I thought I heard an if. Do we know?
The kids did speak about it, and they said if, as long as, right now it's booked, but we don't know if we're going to be allowed there.
When will we find that out?
That I don't know. I just heard that same thing from the
Okay.
kids, right?
Okay.
For the governor, because right
Yeah, that's
now
the governor.
they only made it 150 people at a catering hall.
Okay.
And I think that's as of March. I think they said as of March.
And I think they have to, all these
Huh?
festivals.
I think 29 seconds left. I paused it.
Gotcha. I just wanted to let everybody, we don't need to be sheep and follow everybody else. A lot of Catholic schools are full-time, and I get that there are other schools that are full-time, and we want to be careful. Mrs. Hutchison is right. Anybody can be sued at any time, and let me tell you, every year, I know I get that feeling, I get that hit, and I'm like, enough already with the lawsuits. So even if we did have kids sign a full waiver, parents sign a full waiver for the senior class to come back in, I know it doesn't prevent the school from spending money on frivolous lawsuits. But I just want to let you know that the emotions out there are so big on the kids and the adults. You guys had your kids graduate. You know that they experienced great times. This year, the split sessions, there are kids that are not walking the halls with their friends. It's just, it's as bad as you think. Mr. Middleton is sending out emails every day. Thank you that you're still working, buddy. And, sorry, and what I'm trying to say is that a lot of the kids are, I can't say with an absolute, but they're not getting it at school. People that are getting COVID are not getting it at school. I mean, and I can't, unfortunately, I can't say with an absolute, but I can tell you just from statistically from what I'm reading. I beg you to try to expedite what you can to get this. Time is of the essence. A couple weeks, it's going to be March. Before you know it, we're going to be, it's going to be the end. And is there any way possible that I could suggest that our athletic directors sit on the board here in the board of meetings for future meetings? Because there will be there's always ongoing questions regarding sports. And I feel bad that it rests
We can't.
on Dr. Adams.
That's,
I didn't say your name. I just said
No.
position.
no, that's fine, no.
You know,
I mean, we could discuss having him in for one of the meetings,
Why
but
we can't have them every meeting.
yeah.
Not as, we can have them in like up to 3.
I don't know if the policy, oh, okay. I didn't know the policies. I just feel that, You got-
Send an email.
Yeah.
oh, okay,
Board meeting, you send it to Dr. Adams.
okay,
Mark, put your microphone on.
okay. And with the,
I gotta ask you to wrap it up, honey.
okay, the last thing is, with regards to seeing sports, do you guys have any input to the Section 11? Is it the school district? Is it our athletic director that recommends it to Section 11? There's a policy and procedure on their website, and it says that the board of directors of Section 11 take the advice and the guidance from the school districts. And I wonder if we have a policy in place
That wouldn't be,
to see sports, to watch it, to watch the
I mean
kids play.
spectators.
Spectators.
Oh.
Spectators. I know Section 11 voted for no spectators for the winter season.
Are we allowed to override that?
No.
We're not.
No.
Okay. So does anybody know off the subject? I understand that way back then in March, and again, we're learning through this process, and we're going to develop some best practices and hopefully put in place whatever we needed to. But does anybody know, is the process wear your mask or stay 6 feet apart, or do we now have to wear a mask and stay 6 feet apart? I don't know where along the line, and I'll be honest with you, my business relies on people. I don't remember where along the line the government said you can't be in a building without wearing a mask or stay 6 feet apart. I know that he limited gatherings, but has that changed?
So in the New York State Education Department reopening plan, it did talk about both. It did not talk about or. In the reopening plan, a district or school plan has a written protocol to ensure all persons in school buildings keep social distancing of at least 6 feet whenever possible. That's just one of the hundreds of things that we had to have on our reopening plan.
Hey, listen, it's hard to be on top, guys. You guys are going to be getting questions. I've heard it for the last 6 months. I applaud you guys for doing what you're doing.
thank you for coming in too, I appreciate it. Does anyone else want to speak? You can't go take as long as he did, he's already gonna get beat when he goes outside. Nobody else wants to speak? Okay, good, we're gonna go on to the discussion, which is probably where you're gonna get a lot of your answers. And then Lisa, when you're ready before, even if we don't finish the discussion items, all right, so we're gonna vote on that, consent agenda item number 4. I need a motion and a second. Wait, can you read it? Can you reread the wording?
Yeah, it's just so you're aware, just anywhere that it states the purchase of medical supplies, I put in no case to exceed $10,000.
Okay, is everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
Discussion, Lee, Mylin, you're okay with the $10,000 limit?
That make it, let me ask this, the administration, would that be okay? Is it gonna be more stress? I'm gonna have to have more meetings to come in and more emergencies because you need stuff that's 15,000, 20,000.
Well, you guys will know in a month, when you're low on supplies. not before, you're not gonna call us the day before and say, we have none of this. You guys keep stock, so I don't see how we need an emergency plan.
I'm asking administration.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for that low, that's a problem.
Eileen's right. There's time to be able to produce if it ever goes above that.
Thank you. Okay, so we're okay with that 10,000. You guys are okay with that? Okay, so I need a motion and a second to vote on item number 4. Thank you. Motion.
Motion.
All right, Mark will second Mylene motions. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mylene? Lee?
I said aye.
Okay. I didn't even hear her. All right, so now we're gonna go to new business discussion items. Bridget, I believe you are up first with the fiscal stress. And don't mind me, but I am gonna step out from.
Good evening, everyone. So the first slide, well, second slide really, is an update on the fiscal stress monitoring system. This comes from the Office of the State Comptroller, and every school district has access to a spreadsheet. You pop in some numbers and it will give you your score classification. So this deals with, it's a program to identify issues with budgetary solvency. So some financial indicators are year-end fund balance, operating deficits, cash position, and reliance on short-term cash flow debt. We have not had a designation for 2019 and 2020. We are below the threshold for designation of fiscal stress. So that's great news. The next slide is the same slide as the last presentation. So there has been no update to state aid. This is as the governor gave his proposal on January 19th. So while there's no update right now, as the next data snapshot takes place on the 15th of February, it's important to note here that towards the bottom of the screen, there are 3 new lines that have never existed before. So the STAR payment, the Federal CARES Act restoration, and the local district funding adjustment are 3 lines that distort the figure of the change between 2021 to 21-22. So the governor added these lines to show each itemized component for school districts, but the STAR payment for school districts is not recorded or reflected as state aid. It's a tax item. Next, the LDFA and the CRRSA will be offset by federal monies received. So as I explained in the last presentation, the state is assuming that New York State is going to receive federal funds, and with those federal funds, it will offset some of these reductions. So the truest picture that all school districts in New York State can really have here is the highlighted subtotal line. So the change would be the 54.6 compared to the 54.0, which is really only negative 627,406 compared to the line that has been presented through Newsday, through News 12, and ultimately presented through the governor's office. The state aid proposal is really just a snapshot of the database as it was on November 15th, 2020. So there's a lot of deadlines that happen through December 31st for school districts. So the difference between November 15th through December 31st and all the information that is sent to the state education department will not be reflected as you see it here on the screen. So February 15th will be the next update that will record everything that has been submitted to the state and will significantly change this number. Now, this and that explanation is different from the federal funds that are received if they're approved through Congress, if they're approved through other mediums. That is a different thing. So if federal funding is not received and it negatively impacts the state of New York, education and education aid will see a negative impact there as well. So we will move on to the next slide and the tax levy limit. So the only item that is set by the school district is the tax levy, and everything else is set by different entities. The tax-based growth factor is set by the Office of Real Property Tax Services, and for 21-22, it is 1.0061. The allowable levy growth factor is set by the Office of the State Comptroller in January for school districts, and is under 2% for the second year in a row at 1.023 for 21-22. Payments in lieu of taxes or pilots for ConnectQuad are established by the town of Islip and Suffolk County, and it's based on a 5-year schedule. The capital exclusion is comprised of the debt service schedule, building aid, bus purchases, transportation aid, and capital work. And the allowable or available carryover from a prior year is not applicable for ConnectQuad for the 21-22 school year. So the next slide will be the breakdown of the tax levy limit projection. This number will change as the state aid run updates change as well. So February 15th is one. There's a couple others that happen until the governor has his legislative or adopted budget towards April 1st or a little bit thereafter. So the calculation begins with the prior year tax levy. It's multiplied by the tax-based growth factor. You add in the prior year pilots. You subtract the prior year exemptions from the capital levy. Multiply by the allowable levy growth factor for 21-22, subtract the projected pilots, add in the allowable levy carryover, add in the capital levy share for a total of 132, 676, 832, or a percent increase of 2.32. Again, this number is subject to change significantly depending on a multitude of factors. The next slide is the draft revenue budget. So Governor Cuomo's state aid proposal assumes federal assistance, as I said, and the director of the Division of Budget has stated that if the state receives less than $3 billion from Washington, that state aid for 21-22 will be impacted for school districts. So while school districts wait for the state aid update on February 15th, it's important to recognize that any negative impact to state aid will obviously impact our appropriated fund balance as it serves to offset the burden to the taxpayer. So since roughly 6 to 8% of the revenue side comes from the tax levy, we try to offset that burden of the taxpayer as much as possible. State aid is 28% of the revenue side of the budget, but that's still a significant number. So any dip to the state aid number, so the 54041714, will absolutely impact appropriated fund balance and a couple other revenues through there. So our next meeting is February 23rd. That will be after the governor's update, and these numbers will change. We'll go through those the next time. So February 23rd, we will begin staffing, program, and enrollment, and get ready to go into the expenditure side thereafter at the beginning of March. Thank you.
Well, I guess Eileen left. Anything else, Linda?
Yeah, the next two discussions are really just, it's actually a discussion and then a quick action if you folks are okay. St. Joseph CYO Soccer has requested to use, have spring permits during the time when school is closed, which is outside of the policy. Since they're both outside, I would suggest, and St. Joe's as well, for permits to be used during school closure, but outside. So I know in the past the board has said yes to that. So these two are on here just now for you to override that policy so that we can say yes to both of these approvals. One is at Cherokee and one is at Boston, and it's during the time that school is closed. So there would be no impact on school operations whatsoever. So I just need you folks to give me authority to override the policy for those two permit requests.
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it. Motion.
I need a motion and a second to St. John's.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. So, in the grand scheme of things, I can't even tell you how much I miss going to concerts, going to athletic events, going to plays. I know that you all feel the same thing, but we are able to recognize some of our best musicians. We just had the most students ever that were honored to be part of Nice Game Festival, which is the New York State Council of Administrators of Music Education. I don't believe that they will be able to participate in this because I do not believe this festival is actually going forward. But the fact that they were honored, it's the highest honor in New York State for in music. So I just want to congratulate from the board and myself and my cabinet, and they will all be getting a little certificate saying, we wish you could be here and we could hear you play, but Francis Aiello for the tuba and sousaphone, Kimberly Cassio for alto 1 chorus, Rocco Castrogiovanni for the trumpet and cornet, Emma Brenner, who is a soprano 2, Ava Butino, who's an alto 2, Jessica Fasano, who plays the mallets, Paul Fascino, who plays the French horn, Lindsay Johnson, who is an alto 1, Isabella Kerr, soprano 1, Emily Morris, who plays violin, Isabella Regano, who is a soprano 2, Nicholas Rizzuti, who is a bass 2, Sean Rosado, who is a bass 2, and Ethan Zhang, who plays the cello. They received the highest honor by being nominated to be part of Nice Game, and I wish to congratulate them. I'm not going to read all 79 musicians who were from Connecticut High School, OBMS, RMS, who were honored to be nominated to be part of SCMEA, which is the Suffolk County Music Educators Association. Generally, this is a concert that they are also part of, and this year there will be no concert. But 79 of our students from our 3 secondary schools have been nominated, and I will post all of their names on the website, and I just want the board and myself to congratulate them as well for the hard work that has achieved these honors.
Congratulations to all of them. Yes. Congratulations.
Next one is the OBMS PTA Reflections Contest. I know that we've had multiple elementary schools that have had this honor in the last few years, and this year we have had 4 students who, so in December, for the first time in a while, the PTA Reflections Contest was hosted at Oakdale Bohemian Middle School. 4 students were chosen to have their work forwarded onto the county level. Of those 4, 3 of our students were chosen to represent Suffolk County at the state level. We are awaiting the decision from the New York State PTA adjudication, but simply representing Suffolk County is such a great honor. So I hope you will join me in congratulating these young women on their achievements. Good, I'm gonna read it though, because there's only 4 of them. Bryn Burke, grade 6, middle school composition, local, county, and state, and middle school visual arts at the local level. Madison Holtzmacher, grade 7, middle school literature at the local level. Flynn Lavery, grade 6, middle school film production at the local and county level. And Jenna Olberg, grade 6, middle school dance choreography at the local and county level. Congratulations to all of you.
That's great. Linda, do you think we could actually see, I love this kind of stuff, the PTA reflections. Will we be able to see what they did? I know that a lot of times they used to be able to come in and.
They bring it. Yeah, let me see what I can do. We can at least put it on the website so everybody can see it.
Yeah, that would be awesome for those kids. Great job.
Okay, and finally is my presentation about the secondary reentry survey results. I have my back to it.
So I forgot about, Linda? I have one question that I forgot about. Weren't we supposed to get the credit policy here tonight?
The high school has a meeting with faculty, staff, administration, and I think some students as well. I think it's happening this week.
Okay, because I remember that the last time we spoke that they were gonna come the first meeting in February, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
think
it's just
this
that.
I wanted to motion to suspend it this year, not the attendance policy, which is
Grading.
by state law you have to have, but the credit policy, we don't have to have this year, especially with so many issues with this pandemic.
Well, we were going to do that originally, and then the high school said that they wanted to revise the policy and bring it to us for our consideration. So
Correct.
we were gonna let them do that at this meeting, but you're saying that are they gonna have it by the next meeting? Otherwise, we will vote, we'll add that to the agenda to suspend it.
So
Okay,
I know that
just
committee
make sure you
meeting
add
is
the current
happening
policy
this
onto
week.
The next agenda, no matter what. If we don't have the information, then we will vote on what we need to do. Okay, Jackie, is that good? We'll give them one more
I
meeting
don't wanna see kids fail
because of
over logging on
technology.
late and everything else, and
You got
I
my
just
vote.
think this year, the credit policy should be suspended, the way other things have been suspended.
Credit policy needs to be updated whether or not we have a pandemic, but with the pandemic, it's even worse. Kids should not be penalized for not being able to get on because they have to use their phones or whatever it is, so yeah. Okay, sorry, Linda, now you can do this one because I think everybody is interested in this one.
Good. So at the last Board of Education meeting, the board requested that I send out a survey, so that we could find out what percentage of the population is interested in beginning to explore bringing students back. It was tailored, the discussion was tailored to the seniors, but I believe that we should be looking 6 through 12, since that's hybrid, to see what folks are thinking. So we were in receipt of 1,978 surveys. Of that, 1,863 were actual surveys, where the other ones were people who put in multiple times for the same student. I did ask every parent to put in for each one of their students, so that if you have a 6th grader, a 9th grader, and a 12th grader, you could decide you wanted different things for different kids. But we did have quite a few people who put in the multiple surveys for the same student. So out of the 863 surveys, that is 61.6% of the students who are currently enrolled in OBMS, RMS, and the high school. So this first graph is just the number of students from each one of the schools who of the parents who said, yes, we should be considering it, no, we shouldn't be considering it, and the total in comparison with the population. So these are the yeses, CHS, OBMS, RMS. I can't. All right, so the first graph is CHS is in yellow. 547 folks that took the survey said that we should consider bringing all the kids back. In OBMS, 275 said yes, and in RMS, 219 said yes. The totals received for the no's, 471 from the high school said no, 152 from OBMS said no, and 197 from RMS said no. So we received in total 1,018 surveys from the high school, 427 surveys from OBMS, and 416 surveys from RMS. This is the total population. So the high school is 1,758, OBMS is 607, and RMS had 660.
So that's a good representative, though. That's a good number.
It was about 62% of the kids who are enrolled had a survey filled out for them on their
Yeah,
behalf.
that's pretty.
Those numbers, I don't have the paper in front of me.
Is there any way that we'd be able to find out, though, that if the way you said that the high school, let's say, for instance, isn't big enough to bring kids
Jessica,
back?
can you email that to Lee?
If there's 471 that said no,
Yes.
and this is 60%, you said, of,
Lee, she's
About
emailing that to you.
62% of the kids enrolled.
if 527 wanted to return, out of the 527, we need to know how many of them are already hybrid and in school, and how many more would it be? Because there's got to be a way just to add an option. That's really, I just want to be able to add a parental choice option. If the parents want.
Jackie, so what you're saying is, and I'm sorry to
To
interrupt you, but,
accommodate them.
right, what Mark said.
So what I spoke to Linda about before was, is there any way you can look into accommodating the number that we have that would come back to school and be sufficient enough and do the guidelines and do the 6 feet distancing, and we can offer them school, the whole school.
So-
It sounds like it's gonna be 50%,
So
60%, so it might be able to work.
I gotta say this too, and it's hard for me, let me turn this on. Someone turn this off just for a minute. Mark.
No, I don't want.
And it's hard for me to believe
I can
that
call all
we
you.
couldn't do it, because I can say it from a parent standpoint, not just a trustee, that my daughter sat in class this week by herself. So that is happening. My own child texted me and said, "Hey, Ma, can you come get me or have Grandpa come get me? I'm by myself in the last 3 classes." By herself, one child in the class. So, and I'm not the only parent. I've gotten text messages from plenty of parents whose kids are sitting in a classroom by themselves. I don't know what anyone else thinks, but I think that is tragic and terrible. Okay.
So the problem is that parents need to send their kids when they're supposed to be in the class. Because if that's not happening, but we're going to go to full in person, that makes no sense to me. So if we're saying kids can't be around other kids, yet we're providing every other day instruction in school, then those kids should be in every other day in school. It exacerbates the problem of loneliness and being isolated if parents are saying, don't go to school today, even though it's your day to be in person.
Here's the thing, right? I always am for, and I've said this to you, sending kids to school. I've always said, as long as it's safe and healthy, my kid is getting dropped at the, I told you this for elementary, we're dropping him at the curb, tuck and roll, you're going, buddy, that's that. Everybody's going. But I like parental choice. If somebody feels differently, I go to work every day. I don't have a choice. So I kind of say to my son, we got to go to school. Like, it's something we got to do. We can't be in a bubble forever. But I respect if other people feel differently, and everyone has their own circumstances. We should give people the choice. You guys have done a great job in giving them a choice to do virtual, to do full virtual, to do hybrid. Why not say to the parents, you want to keep your kid hybrid? Stay hybrid. You want to put your kid in school full day? Maybe more kids would show up. Because right now, it is depressing as a parent in this district to watch your children, especially children who do very, very well in school and never had anxiety, now are all suffering from anxiety. And they're depressed. They don't want to go to school. They don't want to get up. I don't know. I have one and one. One that never wanted to go to school, and one that now wants to stay home and always wanted to go to school. So I understand like what the parents are feeling. It's really upsetting that we're not looking at other options to try to get them back. Not just always saying, no, the guidelines, no, the roadblocks, no, the this. We've done everything we could to help. $7 million worth of protection in place and adding staffing. I'm for doing whatever we can do for the families that feel, okay, people are getting vaccinated.
Jackie, let's finish the present. Jackie,
All right, give me 1 minute. If we
I gave you 4.
vaccinations for all
I know.
the people who want them, wouldn't that make staff feel more safe? So wouldn't we be able then to bring more kids back and try to do the guidelines, but at the same time, how are other big schools doing it? There are big schools doing it, and I don't believe for a minute that every school is doing it, following everything, when I know I've been in schools where when you walk in a high school hallway, in some of these schools,
Jackie,
they're doing all over the place.
Jackie, we have to do the right thing. Yeah, we're in agreement. We're right. Okay, but let's let Linda finish her presentation. Before we ask any more questions, let's let Linda finish her presentation, please. Thank you.
Next slide, thank you, Jesse. All right, so in Oakdale Bohemian Middle School, 275 parents said that we should consider bringing kids back, and 152 said we should not consider bringing kids back. In Ronkonkoma Middle School, 219 parents said we should consider, and 197 said we should not consider. In the high school, 547 parents said we should consider, and 471 said we should not consider. So district-wide, the percentages of yes to no were 56% of the parents who responded said yes, and 44% of the parents responded said no, we should not consider bringing kids back. So we had 1,863 surveys. Of those 1,863 surveys, we asked what the district would want to have the education be. 58% of those responded said that they would want full in-person, 23% said they would want to remain hybrid, and 19% said they would want to be fully virtual.
question is, can we accommodate the 58%?
I think Mark's right. His question is, yeah.
Yeah,
Can we
and it is.
accommodate the 58%?
I think we
That's what I
need to
asked you to
know-
look
right.
at.
Right. Now, I'm
And
not
with
sure that we can because it's not 58%. Go back one slide for a second, Jesse.
Because if we can, then we should.
So really, it's really not 58%. It would really be 58 plus 23% because these kids are in the school building every other day, or at least they should be.
Right.
We do have parents not sending them every other day, but they should be in the schoolhouse every other day. So if we said now we're going to do hybrid and full, we would have 80. Well, I do have some numbers for you because you asked me to look something else
Okay.
up. So this is where we are right now. Okay, moving forward. So this is kind of interesting because the people who said we should consider bringing kids back, 5% of them said yes, but we should remain fully virtual, and 1.4% said, I'm sorry, we should remain hybrid, and 1.4% said we should remain fully virtual. Moving forward.
But they want the choice. That's what they're saying?
No, that's what they would do if we were to reopen
Oh,
without the
okay.
6 foot.
Okay.
So breakdown of no answers. How many people would send their kids in person if we were less than 6 foot barriers? Because if every kid came back in the district, there's no way we could be in that 6 foot social distancing. So, but 1.2% of them of the no's said that they would consider in person even if we weren't going to bring it back. If we were going to bring it back, 41.5% would go fully virtual, and 46.5% would remain hybrid. So this is my question right here. My question is bringing everybody back then forcing more kids to leave and never see their teachers and their friends? So there's a scale here that we need to really be thoughtful of.
Why can't you keep the kids who want to be hybrid? Let's just go with the second.
Jackie, Mark was asking a
Okay,
question, you
Mark.
just cut him off, so let him finish his question. Mark, put your microphone on.
So if we have parents right now who are feeling safe because they know their kids sit behind this, they know that their kids are 6 foot away from everybody else in their class, and they know that their kids are in with their teachers in person every other day. Now we say, yes, but we potentially can't put your kids 6 foot away anymore. Now we force some of those people to not feel safe anymore. So now we say to those people, now go home and never see another kid. Be fully virtual for the rest of the year. So we have to take both of those into consideration.
I think what we need to do is, because basically we're going on ifs, maybe send out that survey and say, if we were to go back full time, what would you do? So now you have actual numbers and you can work with actual numbers a little bit better, because we have too many ifs here. And I think maybe you include asking the teachers too, because we need to make sure we're gonna have teachers.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of things, and I think it can't be ifs. And if we want to do it as fast as the parents want, which I don't know if it's the majority or not, we can't make that decision as a board member to say what we should do. And we're here to represent you, so we want to find out what the public wants. So it doesn't make a difference what it's broke down. We still have to find out the numbers first. And then we have to find out the numbers first, break it down by the numbers, and then we can look into different alternatives. Mike, we first need numbers, actual numbers.
I got a question, like, this is what I don't understand.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
No, it's okay. You know what I don't understand?
Let it finish, breaks it down.
Okay, go.
No, that's all I'm saying. We need actual numbers, and that'll change a lot of the what if.
But the problem is we're never going to have a real number until we say to people, we can bring you back safely or we can't. Because if we said
I would say you can.
no more hybrid, no more virtual, everybody's
No,
coming
don't say
back.
that.
Okay,
Just-
but if we were to say that we know we're not going to be able to do the social distancing that's mandated by the New York State Education Reopening Plan. What other districts are doing, I'm not responsible for the safety and health of the faculty, staff, and students in other districts. I'm responsible for the safety and health of Connecticut students.
Linda, but we are doing the social distancing. We're doing everything.
We are.
So
Right now.
if we found out an answer, we could do it. If we find out the answer, we need to go know the answer. What numbers would do it? If we have social distancing and we do the guidelines, how many people would come back? You have your choice, one or the other.
I think almost everybody would come back if we could safely say.
I don't know. That's why I don't know the answer.
I think there's still gonna be parents who, and rightfully so,
Mhm.
who feel some people have underlying conditions, have elderly people at home, have autoimmune, issues, and and medical issues, they should always be given the choice. I have always been for parental choice. They should always be for that choice. If they need to stay home, the same way if staff needs to stay home. If we're really keeping everybody safe, then we got to give people that choice when possible.
Right.
What I'm saying is, if we found out, I agree with you, is go try to break it down by grade, because you may get where it's such a scattered number
Mhm.
that if you're only bringing back 30 kids for, like, let's say I'm just throwing it out the 6th grade, but 100 seniors want to come back.
Right.
You got to see how this works out. We're listening to kids. Kids are really mentally, we're going to start losing kids mentally.
Yes.
We're going to start losing kids to depression, suicide. I mean, the calls that we see, the things that go on, we got to start to move on this. We can't keep on saying we might bring kids back or try. We have to see what we can actually do.
Well, then I'm going to suggest that everybody send your child on the day they're supposed to be there. We should not have a class of one child. There are classes of, let's say, a class size of 30. There should be 15 children in every day. They get to see 14 other kids in every day. So
Not something that happened overnight. This is something that slowly trickled down to, what's the point of going to school? Teachers aren't there, nobody's there.
Well, this is a whole.
That's another issue, and we're not gonna.
Let's get the actual number though, and
Okay,
once we
now
get
I'm
the
gonna
actual
move
number,
because I do have
you
numbers.
can even say 9th grade is gonna stay home, and we're gonna have 10th, 11th, and 12th. Well, we need the numbers first, then we can make solutions. I just think.
Next slide.
Okay, we're gonna let Linda finish our presentation, please.
Next slide. So one of the things that there were folks here that were representing the seniors. So we had 240 parents answer out of 449 seniors. Of those seniors, we had 141 say that we should consider coming back, and 99 say no, we should not consider coming back. Of those 141, 95% of them said that they would come in person. 4.3% of the yes answers that we considered would want to remain hybrid, and 0.7% said that they would go fully virtual, even though we should look into opening and bringing everybody back. Of the no answers, 43% of them would say that they would go or stay, either go or stay fully virtual. 42% would like to just remain hybrid, and 14% would consider going in person, even though they really weren't interested in having us consider that. 16 students out of these 99 would transition out of hybrid into virtual. So this is what I was saying to you earlier, Mark, just so that you know. So we're by thinking that we're going to bring everybody back, we're forcing some kids not to ever see other kids. So we have to be conscious that there's two different ends of it. That if we say, come back, we can't do the 6-foot distancing, so you have something in your household that you may not want to be exposed to, then we're going to force these kids to go fully virtual. So you asked me earlier, so let me just go to finish this quickly. These are the questions, right? Can we keep the 6-foot social distancing in place with the return to in-person? I have now some rough numbers that we can start to work on. We only closed the survey down yesterday. Can we keep 6-foot social distancing in place within our classrooms? If 25 to 30% of our kids don't come back, if I have a class size of 24, that's 6 kids out, that's 18. I don't have many high school classes that can fit 18 socially distanced. Most of our high school classrooms can fit between 13 and 15 socially distanced. 18 is not socially distanced. This is what we need to work on, to take a look at. In our sixth grade classes, we have class sizes of 28 to 30. There's not a shot I can bring back the amount of people who want to come back in 6th grade, because I can't fit. Even if we took 30% out, that's 9 kids. That's 21 kids in a classroom. Can't happen. And that's every 6th grade class. They range. So we have to look at the different grade levels. I have this by grade level. I can sort it by grade level. That's why I asked everybody to put their children's grade levels in. Our lunchrooms and our cafeterias, kids are 6 foot away from each other. They eat in these spaces in the high school. In the middle schools, they're cohorted. They don't leave their classrooms. They sit behind these and they eat in their classrooms. Now, that is a huge burden on our food service workers. They have to package everything up and deliver it to everybody's classrooms. Can we actually do that? Do we have enough staff to make that go up, to make that happen? We earlier today talked about $7 million. $4.5 million of that is staff. I don't think at this point, spending more money on food service workers so that we can ramp this up, I'm not sure that the board would accept that or approve that, but these are the questions that we've already begun asking.
I have to ask this because it's right here.
Yeah.
In our lunchroom, but that's what the,
No, we're waiting till Linda
Eileen, let
finishes
us
her
just ask
presentation.
while we remember. Let me ask.
No, Jackie, let Linda finish her presentation. Hold your question. Jackie, let Linda finish her presentation, please. Jackie, please let Linda finish her presentation. Jackie, you can ask the question. Just let Linda finish her presentation. Jackie.
On the way you're talking and doing that,
There,
all I can say is, the Super Bowl, just some of us Super Bowl, they had to distance all those people, because I had friends there, and they were sending me videos of that. They were made to distance.
Okay, Lee and Jackie. Let Linda finish her presentation, please.
Right.
Go ahead, Linda.
Okay, so the questions really are, can we do this safely in our buses? If we have a return to with in-person instruction and only 30% of our students decide not to come back, we won't be able to transport them safely, not by New York State standards. These are the things we have to start to think about. Do we have enough dividers? If we put back 25 to 30 desks in a classroom, have we purchased enough? And maybe we did purchase enough at the beginning of the school year, but we trade these out when it gets to the point where kids are having difficulty seeing through them. So these are other expenses and things that we have to talk about. Can we also get the same brand? You guys all know that we had problems with with the slots that they went into. Well, but this is not what we were cutting the kids on. The kids were being cut on the actual slot that it fits into, and we had them in here for days and days and days modifying those for us. So these are all the things we have to think about as we move forward. So I was asked about other school districts. So there are 2 school districts that are similar in size to us that have been open since September. I got to speak with both of the superintendents of both of these districts. The Hauppauge superintendent said they decreased electives. So if I look at a person who was teaching nonfiction writing, those electives are gone. So all the English teachers are now teaching English 9, 10, 11, 12 in order to make the class sizes smaller. This happened in Hauppauge prior to the school year opening. They have they're socially distanced due to their decreased enrollment and the size of their facilities. I spoke to the superintendent of Three Village. Although she didn't do the decreased electives as much as the Hauppauge school district did, she told me that many of her classes, because they have multiple extensions onto their building, can socially distance 19 to 20 students. We don't have classes that size. And the reason that they could begin to bring all kids back and they are socially distanced, they have the dividers as voluntary. The kids can use them, but they don't have to. But they're 6 foot socially distanced from chair to chair. I don't know if any other large district that's close in size to us did it from the very beginning. I'm hearing that Smithtown's back. They're not back. They're discussing coming back September 1. I know Longwood is going back. I spoke to that. I actually spoke to the high school principal. Longwood is going, they're rolling back right now. I spoke to them and they said 61% of their classes will be socially distanced, 39% will not. And they're willing to roll that dice. So I was wondering why they were willing to roll that dice, because I don't know that I am, to be brutally honest with you. Health and safety of our kids and our teachers and our staff is the first thing that we always talk about. And to say that I'm going to not socially distance classrooms, I don't think I can do it. And part of that is my own experience with COVID. And if you ever want to hear how horrible it is and that I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, please come talk to me. However, I looked up some numbers. In the Longwood School District, Longwood High School has had 144 students test positive since September out of 3,000. We have had 124 out of 1,759. So I don't know what the Longwood community is doing differently than us, but their kids aren't getting sick. We've had 124 kids that have gotten sick. And I agree with you, Mike. That's 7%. Longwood was 4.8. I agree with you, Mike. You know, they're not catching it in school. They're not. And the reason they're not is because we've spent $7 million to keep them safe. That's why they're not catching in school. I don't know if I could put them back in 3 foot, keep them masked, keep them behind barriers, and feel good about it. I don't think I could. So New York State has told us socially distance as much as possible over the course of the day. So I now have numbers where I can start to look at those numbers and figure out if we can actually bring the kids back who want to come back.
Wait, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
We had asked last year before COVID, going back before COVID. Actually, I asked you 2 Septembers ago. Shush. Shush, Eileen, I don't care.
You got 10 minutes.
Shush. I just want to know if, when we were talking about looking into, and I don't remember what the name is called, where we look to move the kids from different buildings because we have one, let's say for elementary, we have one that's exploding with the number of kids and there's one that's not. I can't think of what it's.
Redistricting?
That's it. Have we thought about doing that? Could that move kids around I mean, I hate to do that, but if it means kids are going every day. But some of the buildings I thought do have more classrooms that have more room in them than others.
So we did talk about that, Jackie, probably right before you got on the board. I'm going to answer that, Linda, because I'm going to get this done with so you can finish your presentation.
Thank you.
The redistricting is a big deal. And what it would do for some of the kids is put them on the bus longer times. You have from one side going all the way to the other side in the traffic. So it wasn't really a good possibility when we talked about it before COVID.
Generally, though, we redistrict in elementary schools. It really impacts the elementary schools more than it impacts the middles and the high.
Right.
I mean, there's one high
Okay.
school, so there's no
So,
redistricting.
Linda,
We all go there.
Please finish your presentation.
finish
And if
my
Jackie says,
presentation.
can I ask one question? I will say no, and you just keep talking on the presentation.
Okay, thank you.
We're gonna get masking tape in a minute. Don, get ready.
You know what?
Don, we got Don here. I got Don in the security team. You be quiet. Linda, go ahead. Linda, finish your presentation, please. Thank
Okay,
you.
so I just want to also answer Jackie's question because what we did in Connecticut was keep our program intact. Every child who wanted a special elective, we wanted this year. I know it's not normal. It's also a pandemic. I've never seen all you people in masks before this year.
I don't care if you bring out my lint table. If you bring my table out, I don't care. It doesn't matter if there's only one.
Jackie, be quiet. Don't make me bang this gavel again. Be quiet, you.
I am going to ask all parents to show me that you want your kids back in school by sending them to school on the days they're supposed to be there. If your child has an illness, keep them home. But if your child is supposed to be in school tomorrow, send them to school tomorrow. They shouldn't be sitting home being isolated. Send them to school. I understand what you said before. I don't believe that our teachers are taking days off any more than any other year, to be honest. People get sick. People have children at home sick. People are quarantined. I get that. But if kids are feeling isolated, one of the reasons is because as parents, we're not sending them to school when they're supposed to be there. So please do that. Send them to school when they're supposed to be there. I'm going to give you some numbers. Mark asked me this earlier, if I could tell him what the numbers were for kids who are fully virtual right now. At the high school, we have 427 children whose parents have chosen to be fully virtual out of 1,757. That's 24% of the kids. At RMS, we have 151 students who are currently fully virtual out of 667. That's 22.6%. OBMS, we have 65 students who are fully virtual out of 607. That's 10.7%. If we add the people who on this survey said, if you can't bring them back safely, Linda, I'm not bringing my kids back, we're going to go fully virtual. It's 84 more at the high school, which is 511, which is 29% of the population. At RMS, it's 26 more, which is 177, which is 26.5% of the population. OBMS, it was 37 more, which is 102, which is 16.8% of the population. Now that I have these kind of numbers, and I can do it by classes, and I can do it by student names, we can do some deep dive in the data and see if it's possible for our students to come back safely. Without this information, I could never have done that. So I do thank the almost 1,700 parents, and those of you who did it more than one time for each child. I caught you, and we cleaned up the data to make sure that it wasn't one group or another trying to skew the data. So I have these numbers now. I will sit down with the administrative team and see if it's possible to bring kids back safely.
Can I ask one more thing, Linda?
Yes, sir.
I'm looking for,
Is our presentation over?
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
I'm actually just looking for a solution. So if we get the numbers and the real actual numbers, maybe we can start with just, because from what I'm hearing, it's mostly the seniors that are missing out the most. Not saying that everybody's not. We're all going through this. Everybody's going through it. Maybe we can just start with the senior class and bring that whole class, give them the option of coming back full-time.
So, Mark, I love that idea, but if I brought the whole senior class back, those senior sections would not be safe. So I need to really look
Couldn't you get another classroom and maybe to get another, spread it out?
Okay, so
I'm just asking, is there a way to make it, I think there's a way to make it work with, listen, I don't know. I'm
Okay.
asking you to look into it. That's all.
you know what? I'm going to tell you what some places are doing, which I find a little bit crazy. So they're doing what they call overflow rooms. So I have seats for 15 in this classroom, and then the next 8 who arrive can't be safely in the classroom. So I send them to the LGI where they sit on their computer and listen to their teacher who's down the hall. That's how some places are doing this and keeping it safe. I think that's a little crazy. So I'm going to run to class because I want to be the one who's sitting here. I don't want to be the one sitting in the LGI with my earbuds in, watching my teacher teach me on my computer. I don't know any parent who is going to think that's a good solution. And some places are doing that. And most of the places who are going back right now, they can tell me all they want that they're going to be 6 foot. They're not going to be 6 foot, first of all, because they're not asking people to make this commitment, which we would have to ask people to make the commitment if we said, look, this is the 30%. You said you're going to be fully virtual. We need to keep you fully virtual because otherwise we can't be safe. This is about safety. I understand. I have a senior in college. Her senior year is not what it should be. Just like the seniors in high school, their senior year is not what they should be. I have a sophomore in college. He never leaves his bedroom. He's virtual on all his classes, so I get it. As a parent, I truly understand that our kids are not having the year that they want. But then I look at how many of our kids tested positive, and I go, why? What are we doing? Parents, keep these kids safe. We're keeping them safe in school. And if you truly want them to be around other children, that's what we gave you. We gave you hybrid every other day. Your children can see other children every other day. That's different than a lot of places who were doing this one day and then a full virtual day or 2 days and a full. We decided as a community, it was important to give every single kid as much face time with their teachers as possible, because that's where they learn the best. Why do we have teachers if that's not the best place for them to learn? And we have great teachers here. We also left every elective because we wanted our kids to have the thing that made their schooling special. We didn't cut art teachers. We didn't cut music teachers. There was a school district not too far from us that laid off 20 art and music teachers at the last minute. You know what? We picked up some of those. They'd been in the classroom 10, 15 years and they were wonderful. We didn't do that. We kept everybody together. And the reason that it makes it harder to come back is because we have a full house at the high school. Every classroom is used. It's very rare to have a classroom not used 8 to 9 periods a day. So when we say, okay, you know what, Linda, bring the 15 in, take the overflow and put them somewhere else, there's no place else to put them. Because we're used the classrooms because we have all of our electives. We left this year as intact as possible. So parents, I need you to send your kids to school every other day, because we said the best thing that we could do for kids is get them in front of their teachers. And that's what we did by doing every other day and not 2 days a week and a virtual day and 2 days a week and a full virtual day, which a lot of places did. So I thank you for your numbers. We will dig into these and see if it's possible to safely bring kids back.
Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna ask for an adjournment. Hold on one second, Mylin.
It's a quick question.
Mylin, you all say that, but let Linda get her data. Why don't you email her the questions and let her get the data?
It had nothing to do with the data and that.
Lee, you got, I'm telling you, 9:30, I'm asking for an adjournment of this meeting. So you got 3 minutes, and Mylin, you have 1 minute. Both of you.
So Linda, would this come at a cost factor? I mean, I know what the model we had cost the district $7 million. Would this model, or even trying to attempt this, have a cost factor?
The only thing I can see as a cost factor, Mylan, might be additional food service hours. But then we haven't, I just went through this data for the first time today and sorted it and made sure that we,
Right,
you know,
so
had something. So I don't.
Linda,
I
we're gonna
can't
give
even
you a
answer that.
chance to get that data together. I mean, thank
Thank
you for the presentation
My
tonight.
turn.
Hold on one second, Lee, so that you can actually give out the preliminary data. But I'm gonna ask that all the parents that listen tonight, let Linda dig some deep into there before, I mean, she's gonna answer the question, so she didn't have time to look at it yet.
What kind of question?
Go, Lee, if it has nothing to do with this, Lee, I'm having Jesse mute you. Go ahead.
I was hoping that you would have something to say about what you're doing or what you're working on for the health and safety aspect, with the mental health piece.
We're gonna add that to the agenda for next one then, Lee, because that's a whole nother conversation. That'll take a whole,
Are you working on it? The question is not what it is.
okay.
No, but we should have Miss Santo here for that, so she could speak. We
Well,
should invite-
let's add that to the agenda for the next meeting.
I will invite her to come and present to you her thoughts on the mental health things that she wants to
Perfect.
do at the next.
Anyone that has any questions for Linda can certainly ask her after the meeting. Again, I'd like to give her a chance to dig into the data. Linda, I hope that's okay, and thank you again for giving us the preliminary information. I need a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. I wasn't kidding. Motion? Mark, can you second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Jackie, Mylin, Lee? Aye? Okay. Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.